Hello! Today we visit a new country. There's one beer from the book, from the country of Turkey. Can you guess what it is? I had never heard of this before. It is a Pilsner, the only beer from Turkey. First brewed in 1969. It's 5%, and it is Efes Pilsner. I am not at all familiar with this beer. I've never seen it, never heard of it. I'm sure other people have. I've never been to Turkey. That's probably why I've never been to that region of the world. It says not much about it on the actual bottle. It just says #1 Mediterranean beer with a star. It's got a star next to it, and it doesn't specify. Oh, here we go. Euromonitor global volume consumption 2014 data. Beer originates from a country bordering the Mediterranean. There we go. Wow, that's very specific. Okay, well, it's how much have I got in here? 33 centilitres, so it's not too much. So let's crack this open. Okay. So the beer has a sweet profile up front, but there's an interesting tang off the malt, and the Hallertau hops help counterbalance the bitterness. Very refreshing in the finish. Okay. It does say, although not necessarily famed in beer circles for their Pilsner, the Turkish take pride in being associated with the beer-making region thanks to their close proximity to Mesopotamia, the site of the first brew around 9,000 years ago. Well, there we go. This is named after the old port of Efesius, and it's also the best-selling beer in Turkey. Right, so let's have a look at it first. Looks very much like a lager. There's not too much heavy carbonation going on there. Nice kind of thickish white head going on. Very tiny bubbles. Looks very much like a lager. Let's go for a smell. It smells like a generic continental lager. Okay, well, I'm interested to know what it's going to taste like. It's a sweet profile up front. Okay, cheers. Okay, there is a little bit of sweetness that hits you at the beginning, and then it rounds out into almost nothingness. There's no aftertaste. Let's go for another taste. Yeah, I'm sorry to say this, but this is very generic. The only way I could see myself drinking this again is if I was in Turkey and it was incredibly hot, and I could probably down a pint of this pretty easily. But it's unremarkable, I would say, is fair thing to say. I don't want to be too rude about it. It's better than Budweiser, and it's better than Red Stripe. But in terms of lagers, this is the next one up from that, I'm afraid. It's not the worst beer I've had, because obviously some beers I've thrown away and some have just been horribly sweet because of the strength or whatever the hops. This is just an unremarkable continental Pilsner. It's inoffensive, but I'm going to say it does have that initial kind of sweetness, but then it rounds out into blandness. So, quite boring, and I'm getting quite gassy from it. This is kind of why. It's a great example of why I don't really like lagers, and this is why people think of lagers in this same way. People who drink interesting beers and people who may drink real ale or really hoppy beers or craft beer from keg walls, this is what they think of as boring beer. I mean, admittedly, a real ale can be very boring as well. Some of the brown beer can also be very boring, which is why I use Doom Bar and Green King IPA as my litmus test. Green King IPA being the most boring real ale I've ever tasted, and it's just not very nice. This is still nicer than Green King IPA, I must say, but I'd rather have a really nice quality pint of Doom Bar than this. So it's fine. It's just nothing much to it. It's a bit like the Ed Miliband of beers, really. Remember him, Ed Miliband, former Labour Party leader. Reasonably inoffensive, seems pretty nice, but ultimately quite boring. So I think we'll leave it there. I'll probably drink the rest of it because I don't want to waste something I bought. As I say, not inoffensive. Go quaff it away. And I'll see you for another beer review soon. Goodbye.